grinding like this. I just kept going like I didn't even hear him, focused on my work. By year 300, I'd fully mastered butchering. Then I picked up blacksmithing, but after 5 whole years, all I had to show for it was one sword. Rita laughed and said it probably couldn't even cut a carrot, but even while roasting me, he still wanted to keep it as a souvenir. Over the next 50 years, I crafted all kinds of weapons, none of them good enough. Not until a full century later when I finally forged the perfect spear. After mastering butchering and blacksmithing, I went back to martial arts. By this point, I'd stopped keeping track of the years. Good thing Rita was still there with me. Humanity still hadn't returned. Rita was starting to worry. What would happen if I finally hit rock bottom? If only he could bring something new to the table. After thinking long and hard, Rita suddenly realized the one thing I'd never experienced was romance. The second that thought hit him, his face went red. He thought he was losing his mind. What kind of angel even thinks like that? But deep down, Rita thought, if I was up for it, he wouldn't mind. That's when I noticed something off. I called out to Rita, and when he looked confused, I pointed at the sword swinging at his hip. That was the one he'd kept as a souvenir, but it suddenly shot out on its own. Rita panicked and took off after it. But right then, my clothes changed back to what I was wearing the daytime stopped, and everything around me was slowly reverting to its original state. Rita was begging the gods not to take the sword, but when he looked down, he saw it. The great calamity had arrived, and I was already rising into the air below him. Rita had wanted to say a proper goodbye, but even he couldn't hold back the power of the gods. Over these 1,000 years, the two of us had built something real. The last thing Rita said as he got pulled away was a complaint. We didn't even get a kiss. All I could do was watch him drift further and further away. Rita's departure hit me hard. I remembered him saying he was an angel, a higher tier being, so if I became one too, would I be able to see him again? The world's reset came to an end. People started coming back one by one. When I opened my eyes, the place was packed. A status window appeared in front of me. Everyone was buzzing about their 10-year experience. So they had 10 years of training, and I was a full 1,000 years behind. But right now, all I wanted was to see my parents. I could barely remember their faces. When I got home, a voice called out to me. The moment I saw my mom, every memory came flooding back. Even after 1,000 years, it felt like no time had passed at all. Dinner felt exactly like before, except my parents kept talking about their time in the other world. When they asked about mine, I didn't want them to worry, so I just brushed it off. From what they said, even with 10 years of training, not many people had really mastered divine power. We talked late into the night before I finally dragged myself to my room. That's when I noticed the spear I'd spent a century forging hadn't disappeared. Rita must have done something. Either way, I wasn't complaining. At least I wouldn't need to find a new weapon when the monster showed up. When I opened my status window, my iron spear showed 800 attack points. I had no idea if that was good or not. So I went online and started digging through posts from people who'd just come back from the other worlds. First, I looked into the level system. Level 1 to 5 is basically civilian tier. Apparently, the standard to get recruited as a soldier in the other worlds was level 7. Hit level 10 and you unlock a class. Swordsman, archer, that kind of thing. Reach level 50 and you get a second class advancement. That's basically when people start calling you an expert. Hit level 100 and you unlock a third advancement. After that, leveling up becomes absolute hell.